Okay, we can start letting folks in. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. We will be starting in just a few moments. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. My name is Teresa Stevens. I'm the Director of Neighborhood Development and Outreach with Baltimore City Department of Housing and Community Development. This evening, we are hosting our Spring 2022 Expression of Interest pre-submission meeting to discuss the properties that we are looking for qualified buyers to participate in submitting responses to these offerings. Hold on one second. Sorry, everyone, just had a little bit of technical difficulties. So this evening, we're gonna go through the goal of this project, this event, and highlight the properties that we are offering. So the 2022 expression of interest, Baltimore City Department of Housing is seeking responses from qualified developers to redevelop specific properties that are city owned in Baltimore. The role or the purpose of the expression of interest is to serve as a basis of establishing interested and qualified partners or developers to be able to respond to our fall RFP. And we hope to release that in September of 2022. The deadline for our expression of interest this spring is June 16th by midnight Eastern Standard Time. And we are excited to have so much interest in the properties that we have available this evening. We do plan to host site inspections for the buildings, and we will go over those dates, and you guys will meet the neighborhood development team to discuss those different dates and information about the respective properties. The timeline for expression of interest is we posted this event in late February, and today is our pre-submission meeting. The site inspections will begin this week and run through May 12th. And the deadline for submitting submissions is Thursday, June 16th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do plan to host the EOI review during the week of June 20th through July 15th in order to determine the responses and make decisions to move forward with a formal request for proposal on different sites. If you have questions this evening, I would ask that you please put those questions in the chat, and we will address those questions during the presentation and hope to have some time at the conclusion to pull the questions and answer those directly. For those that are interested in registering for site inspections on the DHCD baltimorecity.gov website, you will find our expression of interest homepage. On that page, please join us for our individual property site inspections, and you can select register now, which will allow you to select your specific property and see the dates that are available to go in to see those properties. Very excited this year is that we do plan to take some video and photographs of the properties during the site inspection. So those videos and photographs will be available for those that are unable to attend any of the currently scheduled site inspections. For those persons that are ready to submit an application, to find our application, you would go to buyintobemore.baltimorecity.gov. And on that page, you would select under the icon programs, expression of interest, where those sites will be listed, and you'll be able to select the specific property or group of properties that you're interested in submitting an application for. So this evening, we're going to start with our West area, which is managed by Mr. Howard Tutman, our Neighborhood Development Officer for the West and Central areas. And Howard will share with you details about the properties that he has available. Howard, are you available?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Again, my name is Howard Tutman, Neighborhood Development Officer for Central and West Baltimore. Our first property this evening is 1807 Harlem Avenue. It is the former Harriet Tubman Elementary School, and this development opportunity, as you may see on the screen, sits on 1.12 acres and has 2 levels. Again, the location is in historic Harlem Park, and Harlem Park is located south of Sandtown, Winchester neighborhood, and north of the Franklin Square neighborhood. This site is minutes from Route 40 and also minutes from the Mark Penn Line train station. Again, this is a former active school, Harriet Tubman Elementary School, and we do have our site inspection. It is tomorrow. Tomorrow, it'll be open. The site will be open from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Again, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. for your respective development teams to inspect the building. Again, obviously, since it is a school, former school building, it has plenty of classrooms, gymnasium, cafeteria, multi-purpose room. And again, that's 1807 Harlem Avenue. Next slide, please. Our next development opportunity in Harlem Park is our North Gilmore Street bundles. Our North Gilmore Street bundles. The first bundle is located at 517 through 523 North Gilmore Street, along with 527 North Gilmore Street. And that is 5 mayor and city council owned vacant buildings. And again, we're looking for developers who can repurpose, rehab these buildings and put them back into productive use. The second bundle, the second North Gilmore Street bundle is 526 through 532 and also 536 North Gilmore Street. Please note that 526 through 532 North Gilmore Street are vacant buildings, and 536 is a mayor and city council owned vacant lot. Also note that the vacant buildings have an estimated above grade living area of approximately 2,600 square feet. 2,600 square feet. Again, this development opportunity is also located in historic Harlem Park. Current development is also occurring in this block at 504 through 508 North Gilmore Street, and also 518 through 522 North Gilmore Street. And also, please be aware that the Sandtown, Winchester, and Harlem Park communities are currently revising their master plans. The site inspection dates for these 2 bundles will be Thursday, April 28th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. They're on two opposite sides of the street, and most, if not all, the buildings will be available for inspection on Thursday, August, April 26th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Howard. This is great information. One point you did bring up, I do want to just kind of really, reinforce is the neighborhood associations in many of the areas are very active. And as you're putting your plans together, I encourage you to work with the neighborhood association and or the Department of Planning to understand some of the uses that the communities are looking for in the development projects. Our next presentation is from Ms. Nikki Cooper Moore. Nikki, you're available.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Nikki Cooper Moore. I'm the Neighborhood Development Officer with the Development Division, and I manage the Eastern region of Baltimore City. I'll start first with my first property, which is 1 South High Street, located in the Jonestown neighborhood. The current zoning is commercial C1 zoning. The building was constructed in 1982. It's roughly about 9,174 square feet. The building served as a former daycare center. It's walking distance to the Metro subway station, local eateries and shops, minutes from the downtown Baltimore, and also Interstate I-83 that travels from Baltimore to Pennsylvania. It is also located across from the National Aquarium Care and Rescue Center. So we're very excited about this property. We are planning to open the building this week. Thursday, April 28th from 12 to 2, I'll be there and I hope to see you guys there as well. So you can go to the next slide. The next property in my district that we are offering is 2333 East Chase Street, which is located in the Biddle Street neighborhood. It is currently a vacant lot. It was recently demolished probably a little over a year ago. It was the former Rayner Brown Elementary School. So now it is a cleared site. It is about 3.764 acres. The current zoning is R8, which is a residential zoning. It's ideal for new construction. It's also located near the multi-million-dollar project at the former Hohen Lithograph building, which is at 2101 East Biddle Street, which has a mixture of residential and commercial uses in that building. In addition to that, we have some nearby development, which includes residential redevelopment of the 2200 block of East Chase, 2200 block of Prentice Place, and the 2200 block of Henneman Avenue. Of course, you don't need an inspection to go see it. Please feel free to ride by to take a peek at it. And if you have any questions, please let me know. The planner for that area is Ms. Imani Jasper, and I can include her email in the chat for those who are interested in learning a bit more. And of course, my email is listed. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. If you need community association information, I can also provide that as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki. And our next property, which is scheduled for a fall 2022 RFP along with 1870 Harlem Avenue, is Ms. Kelly Bacala, who manages the north and northwest area of Baltimore City. Kelly?
Hi, everybody. So we have the 3750 Green Spring Avenue, which is the former Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. It's on about 6.5 acres and zoned R6. We did have an EOI on this property back in 2018 and had a fair amount of interest. With COVID, we did need to use the building for a few services, so we weren't able to offer the property, but now the building is cleared and we're ready to get it sold. It is in very good condition compared to some of our other buildings. It was still actively being used as a school until 2018, so it's in pretty good shape. And it's a beautiful property. It's on rolling, beautiful rolling hills, like I said, 6 acres, and it's just a very unique space in a very peaceful setting. So it's a really great building. It's also across from the KIPP school, which is another active redevelopment site that we're working on. Well, the city is working on, not our office. And we're going to be doing our site visit for that this Friday. So if you're interested, feel free to come on down. And that is all I have to say. If you have any questions, my email is kelly.bacala@baltimorecity.gov.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That's great. Our next property is located in the neighborhood of Westgate, and Ms. Robin Yelly, who is our Southern Neighborhood Development Officer for the Southern District of Baltimore City. Robin.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Robin Ayeli, the Neighborhood Development Officer, managing South and Southwest Baltimore. Today, I'm discussing 201 North Bend, which is a great opportunity. The current site is the location of 2 school sites, the former West Baltimore Middle and the North Bend Elementary School. But please keep in mind that the property will be subdivided to approximately 12.6 acres to only include the West Baltimore Middle School building, which is now closed. There are also adjacent green space and a parking lot, which will be included in the EOI. The zoning is R5. The building size is 312,321 square feet. It's in a great neighborhood. The property is actually located in the neighborhood of Westgate, which has a very strong community association. The community is a single-family neighborhood with tree-lined streets. It's actually a really beautiful community. Nearby are several amenities, including a grocery store and some commercial. The property is about 10 minutes to 695, 20 minutes to downtown, about 15 minutes to the West Baltimore MARC train, and 10 minutes to the Baltimore County line. The on-site inspection date is scheduled for Thursday, May the 12th from 1 to 2:30. And I'm really excited about showing this particular site, so I hope you come out to see it. For any questions regarding 201 North Bend, please feel free to contact me with additional questions. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Robin. Our next presentation is from Mr. Eric Lee, who is the Neighborhood Development Officer for the Northeast region of Baltimore City. Eric.
Thank you, Teresa. And good evening, everyone. As Teresa said, my name is Eric Lee, and I'm the Neighborhood Development Officer for the Northeast region of Baltimore City. The property that we're talking about is a vacant lot, which previously had a structure, convalescent health facility on the property. It was demolished within the last year, and it sits on a 1/4 acre of land. It's on Bel Air Road, which is a major thoroughfare going through the Seedmont community. The Seedmont community is a wonderful neighborhood with historic homes. They have very active community associations, the Seedmont Community Improvement Association, but there's also the Harbell Community Organization that is actively involved in the area. As I said, this would be ideal for the only thing that could happen on there is new construction. It's located about 35 minutes from BWI Airport and 20 minutes to Penn Station. And in terms of getting around the community, has some good scores in terms of walking score of about 64 and a transit score of 39. The surrounding neighborhoods in Seedmont would be Rosemont East and Frankfurt. The median home purchase price in the area is $163,450. So it's a very stable neighborhood. Wonderful piece of property. As I said, recently demolished building that was a healthcare facility, and it is available for new construction. Please get in contact with me if you have an interest in this property. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric. So that concludes the presentation from our neighborhood development officers to highlight some of the evaluation process when the applications are received, which is the week of June 16th. Following that, the team will evaluate the applications based on developer capacity and project feasibility, and determine next steps, meaning if we are moving to issuing a fall 2022 RFP, or if the applications meet the community's needs and we are considering entering into an exclusive negotiation privilege or invitation to bid specifically to the applicants that have responded for a property that meet the qualifications and/or threshold. This concludes our meeting to discuss the expression of interest for the spring 2022 with DHCD. We can now start to go into the Q&A period of the presentation. All right, so.
Teresa, there's a question. How can I get in touch with the community leaders in the Harlem Park area?
Great, thank you. Howard, do you want to address that?
Yes, I will put that information in the chat. I will put the Harlem Park Neighborhood Council email contact in the chat.
Great, thank you so much.
Teresa, the next question is about drawings. Are building drawings available, floor plans for any of the buildings?
I believe for the school buildings, there are or maybe some drawings available. We will be capturing the chat and putting these questions on our website. So within the next 48 to 72 hours, we will have detail on any drawings or details available for the specific properties.
Will the presentation just provided get circulated to today's participants?
That's a good question. We actually are recording this evening's presentation, and it will be uploaded to Baltimore City Department of Housing and Community Development's YouTube channel. And that link will be sent to all of the email addresses that registered for this evening's event.
Are EOI submissions from past rounds publicly available?
The responses to the EOI are not publicly available, no.
What is an estimated cost of each of the properties?
Actually, the cost for the properties will be generated during the request for proposal, or should we move into an invitation to bid. Most, if not all of the properties will require an appraisal. And we are really trying to use the expression of interest to gauge the interest in the properties so that we can determine and make that purchase to get an appraisal of the different sites. So we do not have an estimated cost for each of the properties at this current time.
What were the site inspection dates? Is one of the questions. I think we can just go ahead and post the link in the chat.
Yep.
To the inspection dates. Next question. Who would I contact to receive drawings for 1807 Harlem Avenue?
Howard. I don't believe we have drawings for the properties on Harlem Avenue.
Can the neighborhood leaders for Park Circle and Jonestown be given? I can answer that in reference to Jonestown. I was not able to locate an active community association. However, I do have the contact information for the councilman for the area, so I can provide that in the chat. In reference to Park Circle, Kelly?
Yep, I can put that in the chat as well. You would want to reach out to Park Heights Renaissance. First and foremost, they are the community development corporation in that footprint. So that would definitely be the best place to start, and I will put their information in the chat.
Thank you, Kelly.
Oh.
Next.
Before you get to the next question, Teresa, I had a correction. I typed an incorrect email in the chat for the contact for Harlem Park Neighborhood Council. I've corrected that. It's Yahoo instead of Gmail. And also, please keep in mind that 1807 Harlem Avenue, that school is for our RFP in the fall and not part of the expression of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
Next question. If we are unable to attend a scheduled site visit, can we schedule a separate appointment?
At this time, we are not opening the properties a second time. And that is why we are excited to share that our communications team will be with us and taking some really good photographs and videos to share. For the individual properties on North Gilmore, we may be able to allow a right of entry in that case, but for the larger school sites, we will not be able to open them a second time.
Next question. What is the square footage for 3750 Green Spring?
It's roughly about 100,000 square feet, the building itself.
Can you share more about how EOIs will be evaluated?
Absolutely. So the EOI is pretty much to take the temperature of interest. And we really are looking for developers that have the capacity financially and experience to both renovate and sustain the properties. We will be also comparing the proposed use with any plans and discussions with the community that they've had as far as uses for the site, and hope that those details will help us to formulate moving to the next step, which is a formal request for proposal, which does have weighted sections as far as developer capacity, financial ability, et cetera.
Okay. What was the fourth item on the EOI DHCD evaluation process? So we can go back to that slide.
It is actually issuing the fall RFP based on the responses that we've received. DHCD does have the full right to move from the expression of interest into an invitation to bid or an exclusive negotiating privilege, depending on the responses and the quality of those responses.
Next question, which properties do you have the drawings for?
I'm not aware of any drawings for 3750 Green Spring.
I'm not aware of any for the South High. I can double check.
I'll double check for 201 North Bend also.
I don't think we have 1807 Harlem. And again, the buildings, we do not have floor plans on North Gilmore Street.
Okay, next question. 2650 Quantico Avenue was on a list a year ago. Is it still for sale?
We're working with the community about doing some stabilization on that building, and then we hope to offer it again in the future.
Next question. Are the properties on North Gilmore a package deal only?
Package, they're a bundle. Each side of the street is a separate bundle. Each side of the street is a separate bundle. So that would be 2 applications or 2 submissions for each side of the street. I hope that answers the question.
Okay. Next question. Could you please repeat the information about 1807 Harlem Avenue?
What information? Teresa, can you put the slide back up?
Yeah, she has it back up.
Okay, and again, 1807, formerly the Harriet Tubman Elementary School. Land size 1.12 acres, zoning R8. And again, it was a active school there.
And this video will also be available for you to go back and take a peek if you need to. I believe we kind of went over everything in the beginning of the meeting. So we will also share that with everyone. Next question, can you please provide the Harlem Park Community Association details? I think, Howard, did you correct it already?
It is in the chat, in the chat.
All righty.
All right, so I think we may have touched on most of the questions. I do see one for Howard. North Gilmore bundles, do you have a cost to renovate estimated? And we actually are opening the properties for that purpose to allow the interested applicants access to come up with those estimates themselves based on the need of that particular property.
Yes, and again, it's going to depend on, you know, what the development team's contractor numbers come up with. We don't have a number, but we do, you know, expect your contracting team, your development team to come up with appropriate and realistic numbers for our rehab.
All right, I see a final
Teresa.
question. The video actually will be posted, I would say probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock tomorrow on our YouTube channel.
Teresa, we have a couple other questions. Do we
Okay.
want to go
We
back?
do have time, yes.
Okay, great. When a property states, quote, specialty use, does that mean a special use not defined by the current zoning?
That's a great question. I'm not familiar with that. Is there planning on the call with us that might be able to help us with that? If not, we can follow up with that via a posting on our website with the remaining portion of the question.
Could you explain how 201 North Bend will be divided? Which side of the property will be available?
Right. I can forward a map outlining the proposed subdivision line. Only West Baltimore Middle on the western side of the property, as well as the parking lot, will be available for sale. North Bend, so everything you see, everything to the west of that black line will be available all the way up to the parking lot there to the west. That's what's available. Again, North Bend will not be included in that, and that's to the east of that property line.
Thank you, Robert. Is the only way to find out community desires for the properties from the community leaders, or can we connect the person in charge of that property? Trying to make this question a little bit more clear. I'm sorry, Mr. Brian Glover. I guess the question is the only way, I guess, as far as feedback as for what the community would like to see at the property, is the only way that we can get that information is from the community leaders? Or is there someone else, maybe a councilman or someone else?
Or the neighborhood development officer or the neighborhood planner for the area, the council person for the area. There are a number of resources that can help with if there's a community plan that's going on, if there are community visions and goals for those specific large properties, but definitely the neighborhood development officers, the Baltimore City planners, as well as our the council reps for those particular properties.
Is an in-person meeting available prior to the submission of the EOI?
With the specific NDO, that should be able to occur, yes.
Okay, being that there is no price on the property, could we have our own appraiser come out to the properties during the inspection dates to help us submit a decent proposal?
That is a good suggestion, and I'm really glad that question came up. The purpose of the EOI is to really gauge the interest and not have the respondent spend lots of funds on appraisals, designs, et cetera, at this particular point in the process. We really are trying to understand who's interested in what those types of projects would look like in those areas. So as far as paying for a separate appraisal, we would not encourage you to do that at this time. If we can provide comps later, we can definitely try to do that as well.
Next question is for Howard. The North Gilmore bundles, do you have a cost to renovate, maybe an estimated cost?
There's no estimated cost. That's what your development team should come up with. It's strongly suggested that you do your due diligence with your contractor. That's why we're opening up the building, so your contracting team can come out and make a realistic assessment based off of your development plan.
Next comment, please post community association contact for North Gilmore.
Again, it's in the chat. It is in the chat. Thank you.
When would the video be available from this presentation? And also a reminder for the site inspection dates.
Yep. So the video will be posted tomorrow afternoon on the DHCD website, and the questions that are posed this evening in the chat will be posted by Friday of this week on our website.
Okay, next question. Who is a lawyer I can speak to who represents the city of Baltimore?
Not quite sure I understand that question, Ms. Wright. So if you can put a little bit more detail about your inquiry for a lawyer that represents the city, I might be able to help on that one.
Is there a timeline on the development of the North Gilmore properties?
Well, currently we're in an expression of interest phase where we're gauging to see if we have qualified and capitalized developers that can execute the project based off of suggestions from the local neighborhood residents and stakeholders. In the fall, if we have good interest, we will have an RFP in the fall. During the RFP in the fall is where we hope to award the property at the end of that at the end of the RFP process. So we're gauging interest, as Teresa stated in the beginning of the meeting, we're gauging interest through an expression of interest. And then in the fall, if we have enough interest, we will move those bundles into the RFP phase.
Okay. Follow-up question, Howard. Who is the councilman for North Gilmore?
Councilman John Bullock.
Thank you. Are there any tax incentives on these projects? General question.
To my knowledge, no. I do believe that some of them would be eligible for new construction, of course, tax credits, tax incentives. Historic tax incentives may be eligible for the Harlem Park site, but we would need to get a little bit more detail about the proposed use.
As a follow-up question to Robin's question, the field to the right of the property will be available, is the question. Essentially the complete parcel excluding the elementary school.
No, the field will not be included. It's only whatever you see on that black line. It's a little bit of the green space and the building and the parking lot. The field will not be included. Most of the field. And this line is actually only a proposed subdivision line. We're not really sure if
I think we may have lost Robin.
Robin, you're muted, Robin.
So the subdivision is currently, the process of the subdivision is happening currently with Baltimore City Public Schools and the community in which this property sits.
right.
Currently, oh, there she is. So the Mary Rodman Elementary or West Side Elementary School, which hopefully you can see my mouse here,
Yep.
is the primary site that the city is disposing of and will be subdivided from this school, which is currently open, which is the North Bend Elementary School. They will retain use of this larger portion of the field. And we estimate around 12 acres for the Mary Rodman Elementary School site.
Right. And that's actually wrong. That should be West Baltimore Middle. They made an error. Planning made an error on that.
Okay, Kathy Robinson has her hand up. If you can put your question in the chat, I don't think we can unmute you. Kathy, if you can go ahead and put your question in. Thank you. I don't see any other questions. I'll wait a minute or so. Okay. Will all properties be sold outright, or is the city open to participating in JVs, holding notes, or owning a ground lease?
At this time, the city is looking to dispose and sell the property outright as is.
Any other questions? All right. Are the EOI made at the best numbers for city on the front end, meaning price? Trying to.
Oh,
Go ahead, Howard.
no, I was going to say the offer price is negotiable, as with all mayor and city council owned property. The key is going to be, is there funding, sufficient funding to complete your development plan? So again, the price is going to be negotiable. But again, the key is, do you have the funding to complete the development plan in a timely fashion? That's going to be the key, because that's going to be the bigger number to carry, is the funding for the development plan, for the rehab, for the repurposing of a school or a building. That's going to be the bigger number than the actual offer price.
Okay. Next question. Please explain a new construction tax credit.
I am not able to give you the details on that, Kathy, but I can provide that detail to you, and I will share that as an answer on our posting on Friday.
Any other questions?
Well, we are very, very excited that we had such a good turnout for this expression of interest for the spring offering. 2 of our properties being zoned commercial, 12 contiguous city-owned properties, which we do have a lot of interest in, 2 schools, and then cleared vacant land for new construction. Is very exciting, and the neighborhoods in which these properties sit are eager to learn of your proposed use and your partnership with them, so that we can have a sustainable development project in these neighborhoods. Again, we thank you so much for participating and attending. Please can reach out to any of our neighborhood development officers for specific questions, and visit our YouTube channel for a recording of this video. Questions from today's event will be answered in writing and posted on our website by Friday. And if you have any further questions, we do look forward to talking with you. Please mark your calendars now. June 16th is the deadline for submitting an application for the expression of interest for the spring 2022 offering. And again, we appreciate your time and wish you all a very safe and pleasant evening. Thank you so much.
Should we stop the recording, Teresa? Excellent question reading, Nikki.